Bait of the day. Vintage hidden river run. A translucent perch. One of my favorite hidden patterns. Just modified with a little bit of split rings and some black nickel hooks. I'm eventually going to be changing these out to longer shank EWGs. Man, this is a great little bait. We'll discuss this just a little bit. Ready to run and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. I'll try to do this without hooking myself. You know how I am. Yeah, the hidden river run. That's I plan on doing an episode of that here down the road. That is a great crankbait, and everybody has forgotten about it. I mean, how many of you guys can look in your tackle boxes right now and pull one of them out? Well, besides Chris at Retro Bassin, how many of you guys can do that? Not many people can. Speaking of that, let me ask you a question. Do you think that still catches fish today? You think bass will still hit that? Well, I saw a thing Randy Blackett was talking about the other day about bass memory. And here's my take on bass memory. You know, I had a farm pond I fished for, 15, 17 years, just up from the house. And acre and a half. It might have been 2 acres as far as I know. 8 feet at the deepest point, but it was always full of hydrilla, no structure. You had a back pocket with a spring running into it. There's 2 springs out in the middle. I had sunk a lot of brush piles out there that you couldn't see. I kept them low. And had a dam at one end, so you had a straight edge. It was your average type of pond. I lost count how many times throughout the years I would catch the same bass off and on throughout the year. There's even a couple of instances where I caught the same fish within 5 minutes on the same lure. Almost the exact same spot. He went back to the same spot. And what I used to do, I used to take a little paper punch. And I used to punch the very back dorsal on their back to where, just like a half moon crescent. Only I knew it was there. So that's how whenever I caught a big bass, I would know if I caught it before. Just kind of give me an idea. There were times I'd go there 2 or 3 times in a week and take the same lure and still catch fish in the same areas I'm throwing in. Do bass have memory? Well, I've never had one tell me. Have you? I've never had one tell me. Now, my wife showed me an article that where they actually proved that they could take mice and teach it to fear the smell of cherry blossoms. Well, they bred this mice through 3 or 4 generations, and each generation was scared of the smell of cherry blossoms. They were able to DNA pattern it to where they would do that on each generation. Bass, man, they jump from nest to nest to nest. They hundreds of thousands of little fry, the ones that do survive. And you're going to tell me that DNA goes through all that? I agree that some bass you can catch, throw right back in there, catch them again. I'm sure there's some like that. I'm sure there's some that are impossible to catch, which I've seen that. Even in the pond, I've seen bass that were just impossible to catch, no matter what you did. But the way I look at it is, when it comes to baits like these, man, you know how many generations of bass have passed since this has come out? Ain't no way the great, 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 great grand Skippy is still around to tell them about this bait. So I don't buy that. I don't buy genetic deals or whatever being passed down from bass to bass. Are they aware of sounds? Sure, they're aware of sounds. I mean, this bait doesn't rattle, but it does the split rings and hooks. Now, I showed y'all that before. So every bait has a sound to it. Even a plastic worm, a straight-tailed plastic worm, still makes some kind of sound underwater, whether it's taking on a rock with the weight, or when it hits sand, it makes a sound. So they're used to that. Does it scare them? Probably not. Especially if they've been caught before, probably not. But I just have a hard time buying that the bass have a memory. I know Bill Dance did a thing years and years ago where they did some kind of test, and they said bass have memory up to 21 days or something like that. Maybe the ones in a tank, but what about the ones in the wild? So I don't know. I really don't know if I buy that or not. You might, and if you do, okay. I don't myself. I really don't do it. You just have good days and bad days, and everything depends. Barometric pressure, pH in the water, water clarity, water level, wind, sunlight, rain. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of factors involved in that. And to tell me that bass have a memory, I have a hard time buying it. Now, let's say I'm going behind some guys, and they're all throwing, let's say, shallow square bill crankbaits. Doesn't matter who makes them or what model they are. And they might throw them in a couple different colors. And let's say I'm going right behind these guys and I'm throwing something like this. Do you think my chances are pretty good them hitting this if they never hit that square bill? I think it is. I think I can go in there and catch a couple throwing an older bait like this compared to the newer ones the guys are throwing, because everybody's throwing them. There's certain sound frequencies that bass do get used to, but I think to me personally, that's on a daily basis. I kind of think, once nighttime rolls around, that new day comes around, they start searching for food or whatever, and they hear that bait again, they'll probably hit it. But if they hear that bait and constantly see that bait go by so many different places, especially if you have guys that don't know how to cast, and they're careening and everything and splashing all over in the water and everything else, they're going to spook anyway. But you take somebody who's got a bait like that, which has a completely different, this has a rolling action in the water. Completely different action. What do you think my chances are with this bait? But the thing is, according to Blouket and some other people, stuff like this just don't catch bass like they used to anymore. Will they start watching videos and reading magazines? I don't think so. At least not that I know of. That's a smart bass. That's my 2 cents on it, guys. This whole bass memory thing, I think people, when they get to points like that, I don't know if they're looking for excuses. I mean, really, I don't know if they're looking for excuses why they're not catching anything, or they're thinking too hard in a sport. I mean, you're out there to go bass fishing. There's millions of lures to choose from, lines, rods, reels, techniques, everything. Something's going to work. It's not the stupidity of the fish. I mean, it's not like you're going to have, I've never caught a bass twice, and next time I hook him, he just pulls a belaying ball. I'm a dark fish. I've never had that happen. So that's all I have, guys. I just want to throw that out there. See what you think about it, because a lot of guys don't think about that. But again, if they have memories, this stuff shouldn't be working anymore. But it does. So until next time, guys, may the Father bless you and keep you in Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on. Ain't she pretty?